Hi, I'm Dani Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I'm joined today by Doug Yakel, who is the Public Information Officer for Fly SFO. Doug, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I should say welcome back.
Thank you. Nice to be back.
It's always fun having you because so much is changing, ever-changing at San Francisco Airport. I think last time we were talking about the new tower. But again, so much is happening. So tell us a little bit about the latest at SFO.
Sure, yeah. So it's an exciting time at the airport, and we're really in a period of continued passenger traffic growth, which is really a good situation to be in. We reached almost 54 million annual passengers, which is a new record for us, and we're on our third straight year of double-digit international traffic growth. So we are one of the fastest growing airports in the United States for international traffic. And this year alone, we launched new service to a couple of great destinations, nonstop to Berlin, Manchester, England, and then also Helsinki, Finland. So this is great for customers, but it's also really good for local economies because whenever our passenger traffic grows, the number of jobs and the revenue that it generates also grows. So right now we're at a point where there's almost 43,000 jobs right at the airport. It's about $8.4 billion in direct business revenue. And then if you look at the overall Bay Area and what our airport generates, it's about $35 billion in economic benefit. So as passenger traffic grows, so too does that economic benefit.
Right. I know the hotel industry is very happy about those numbers of heads flying into San Francisco. Have you done any dissection as to whether or not it's primarily in the corporate side or the travel and leisure side?
We are an interesting mix because it's almost 50-50 at our airport in terms of business and leisure. It's actually about 60-40. There's a lot of things that are really driving this traffic growth. And one of the biggest things is just Bay Area economies are strong. Job growth is strong. Tech sector drives a lot of the business travel. And the Bay Area is always such a strong place for tourism and leisure. And we're really benefiting from that. The other thing that's happening is airlines are healthy. Airline economic health is good, and so airlines are really at a point right now where they want to grow to new destinations and they want to add service, and SFO has really been one of the benefactors of that. And then the third thing is United Airlines has always been the largest airline at SFO, but since we last met, you'll remember that Alaska Airlines and Virgin America have now merged, and we're seeing a lot of competition between that merged company and United Airlines. And really, anytime you get that kind of competition, it drives fares down, it increases service, and it's customers who win.
So has the time that it takes to sort of check in, if you will, deflated a little bit? I know when we had our first terror attack, 9/11, and there was now just this real focus on security and ensuring that, and great for America to ensure that all Americans, anyone traveling are safe. And I think that drove people to look at other means, like, can I take a train, which would typically be slower, but the safety time or the time to check in would be less. Have people come back to flying then now as their means for taking a trip down to LA if they need to get back and forth for a corporate, those sort of short hops? Sure,
and I would say that for our airport, we've seen that customer demand return because we were one of the airports that was the most affected post 9/11 because we had not only the effects of 9/11 but the effects of SARS back in 2003. So SFO lost a full 1/3 of all its passenger traffic, but it's bounced back and then some. And I think we've seen kind of a normalizing of what it takes to get through the security checkpoint process. Every time there's a change or an enhancement, there's a little bit of a breaking in period, so to speak. But the other thing is we've seen a lot of enhancements over the years that make it easier to get through the airport process. So,
well, your technology's definitely improved and changed. So I'm sure that makes that line go a lot faster too.
That's right. And the TSA has also implemented a lot of measures that make it easier to get through the process. Pre-check is a good example that can help expedite you. And then even airlines too make it a lot easier to get a boarding pass on your mobile phone, make it easier to check in a bag. So everything's kind of getting faster thanks to technology.
And I know you're one of the leading airports in implementing technology for a lot of, and we were talking about volume, and how does San Francisco Airport keep up with this volume? When we mean volume, we mean flight trips, right? Because there's all of these folks coming in. And 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the answer was we need another runway. We need to expand the runways. And that brought up all sorts of environmental concern, neighbor concern, noise concern, pollution, et cetera.
Right.
But now you are telling me that that's not necessarily what our answer is, meaning expanding the runways.
That's correct. And you're right. In that 20 years ago, it would have taken additional runways to meet that increased demand, whereas now we're at a point where technology can really solve the problem that it used to take physical runways to do. And technology meaning the transition from the traditional, the 56-year-old method of using radar to guide aircraft to using GPS. And this is a technology that's in our hands every day. It's on our smartphone, it's in our cars, and migrating that over to the way that the FAA separates aircraft is going to net out a lot of efficiencies. We're actually investing on our own into a GPS landing technology that will further enhance how efficiently we can use our existing runways. So there's some bright future ahead for us.
So have the planes changed at all? So, runways used to be fairly long because they're the airplane technology too, and being able to get up and off the ground needed a longer runway for landing end. So has the plane changed at all to help with that takeoff or landing
Absolutely.
time?
Yeah, absolutely. And changes in aircraft technology have helped it too, because aircraft are more efficient. They have wing designs that make better use of less runways. Engines are far more efficient and much, much quieter than they were 20 years ago. And in fact, some of those aircraft technologies are part of the reason why we're seeing the type of passenger growth that we are, because some of these new aircraft that come out, like the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, make it much more efficient for airlines to try out new destinations where they probably couldn't make money in those routes with any other type of aircraft. So it's really been a game changer for airlines.
So you've got this growth. Obviously, it's going to take investment in, we were talking about technology. Airlines are investing in their own airplane technologies. What else is happening that's going to help with sustain this growth?
Sure. So for us, one of the big areas of focus is enhancing our facilities. And we're in the midst of a $6.2 billion capital improvement plan. And the goal here really is to elevate the quality of all of our passenger facilities and then also prepare us for that future growth. We want to be ready for the next 20 years. We want to be ready to go from 50 million annual passengers to 70 million annual passengers. And we've already completed a couple of projects. Probably the most visible one is the new air traffic control tower, which we hope will become kind of a new icon or a new landmark for SFO. And then we're also renovating our terminals. And if you've ever been through Terminal 2, which was renovated in 2011, that really set kind of a new high bar for our airport. And we want all of our facilities to be that nice or better. We've already renovated some portions of Terminal 3, but now the big focus is on Terminal 1. This is a facility that was built over 50 years ago. It's long overdue for a renovation, and we're in the midst of building a completely new boarding area. We're going to get some additional aircraft gates out of it, gates that can be used for both international or domestic aircraft, meaning that it'll actually connect to our customs facility. So we'll get a lot of flexibility from this new facility, and hopefully this will be kind of the new go-to place for passengers, because we really want to stock this with surprising features and amenities, locally sourced concessions, all the things our travelers love.
Well, one of the things that we do want to talk about before we go, because we just have about a minute left, is the TSA screening and of electronics.
Right.
Because that has obviously all of our corporate travelers and even leisure travelers. Like, what do I do with my 15 different pieces of electronics that I now travel with?
Right, exactly. Yeah, so this was announced this summer, the TSA rolling out enhanced screening for anything larger than a smartphone. So your e-reader, your tablet, your laptop will need to be in a separate bin from everything else. So this is another thing where we talk about kind of a break-in period. It'll take time for everybody to get comfortable with this. This is a process that's going to roll out at our airport starting this fall. It'll probably start in October in Terminal 3, where United Airlines operates, and then it'll slowly migrate throughout all the terminals at SFO. The key thing for travelers to keep in mind is plan extra time. Allow extra time for this and be travel ready. So if you are traveling with something like a laptop, an e-reader, have it ready to go out into the bin. That'll help you get through the process.
Great, Doug. Thank you so much for giving us all this information about San Francisco Airport. And we want to invite you back so we can learn all about how Terminal 1 came about. All right, thanks all of you for joining me on Penn Voice, and we'll see you next time.